Hello, my name is Elizabeth Oliver, and I'm a member of the Blue Ridge Writing Project and an English teacher at William Byrd High School. As a 10th grade teacher, I have noticed great reluctance from my students to write, where I had expected students to jump at any chance to show creativity in writing. I found the opposite. So over the past 2 years, my major goal has been to engage students in writing once again as a way to communicate ideas, solutions, and personal thought, as a way to move beyond and alongside the formulaic essays they must write with proficiency. Working towards this goal has led me to creating a community of writers, readers, and editors. So what I'm showing you right here is the digital literary and art magazine Sketches. When my staff and I first came together 2 years ago, we were absolutely flummoxed. How did we even go about compiling an assortment of works? How would we be able to learn a new software program and raise enough money to print? Then we were led by our ITRT, Mr. Eric Palazzola, to Wix.com, our beacon of light at the end of our tunnel of despondence. What we liked about Wix.com was that it was free, enabling us to focus our energies on the creative process rather than the financial. Second, even though it was not something that could be held and caressed as a bound paper copy, it was easy to disseminate, to make available to the masses, for we wanted this, Sketches, to be something everyone could participate in and view. We did not want to further the myth of writing and reading as esoteric. So as we were looking through Wix, what we really liked was that it had templates for us to go through and then manipulate. And it's very user-friendly. It has little videos on how to do certain aspects of the website. So we began our process, our entirely student-driven process of collecting submissions, of then carefully selecting pieces to display, and finally of providing revision suggestions to those who had been accepted. Once my students had done this, diplomatically discussing and deciding the course of action for our magazine, 2 of my students volunteered to create this website. And what I'm showing you here is the home page. Oh, sorry, just kidding. It's the whole of former years. Here is the home page. Here they together decided on thematic organization, which you can see up here at the top, and arranged the pieces thus. And this is what you see, a non-linear forum of a year-long endeavor to compile student works. And if you click here, this will go to the previous year's website. Here's the editorial staff, website staff, and if you click on one of the images, it will take you to that thematic page. But this is a literary magazine, you might say. My staff volunteered. They were already interested in the production of such a magazine. How can this apply to the classroom? Well, as a tool, it can be used to promote the steps needed to produce a final public product. Revising, editing, designing, organizing. It can be used to promote the community of the classroom, much as it has been cultivated to create an embracing community of writers and readers at William Byrd. Here are a few suggestions for classroom use. First, Wix.com can be used as a visually stunning way for students to display multi-genre products or projects. Last year, we did a multi-genre project, and I regret that I did not use Wix.com for that. I believe my students would have been more engaged with the process of creating a website. They would have found that they had more creative freedom, and I probably would have gotten better results, and they would have been more excited. You can also use this as a digital way of creating a writing portfolio. Usually writing portfolios are very teacher-driven. This would make it very student-driven, giving them freedom to publish what they want to publish, to design it and organize it the way that they want, and to include images alongside their writings. It can also be used as a way to record the learning throughout the year. We do SSR in our classroom, or sustained silent reading, for the first 10 minutes, where students read anything of their own choice. If they had a website, they could create a tab or one link to go to the books they read over the course of the year, and they could write book reviews. You could also create a tab for vocabulary words learned, or a tab for quotations that really strike them, creating it as a representation of the student to engage them in the process of learning in their own individualized education. And finally, I believe I'm going to use Wix.com as an alternative assignment for research, or as a supplementary assignment. Many students are very reluctant to write research papers, even though they like doing the research on its own. My students greatly enjoy debates, and this would be a great way for them to have visual aids during their debates, to show surveys, to show data, to show graphs. So creating a website provides an enticing format for students to engage in inquiry-based and project-based learning, a way of making the process individualized for each student. Here's a couple of other sources if you would like to further your study of digital writing. The first being a book, Because Digital Writing Matters, and the second being publicdomainsherpa.com, and I'm going to show you this website. It's very good for students to understand public domain versus copyrighted information. On this site, you can go to several links, and they can pick through images which are public domain, so free for them to use. And they have an assortment, so you can click on that. Very helpful there. There's also a few ways the National Board of Professional Teaching Standards promotes the use of digital forums. And I'll let you look through this as I kind of just quickly touch on a few of the ideas. First of all, producing meaningful texts. They're already doing this outside of school. Let's have them produce meaningful text in school. They are used to public text. They're used to social media. They're accustomed to messaging, online videos, blogs, or vlogs. They want to engage in textual conversations. And this engagement produces feedback. Feedback not only from adults, but from peers. And it immerses them in a collaborative community. And it values their own knowledge and their voice. Publication plays a critical role. I noticed that my students, once they learned that they were going to have one of their pieces published, they were meticulous in their editing and their revising, and they're going over everything from looking at syntax to diction. And no matter the fluency of language, providing a public forum gives each student a voice, and what they say now matters. Now finally, I have some anecdotal evidence, some empirical evidence to why I think this is so important to have either in the school or in the classroom. A student of mine who this year struggled in my class, she found her niche in sketches, and she herself, a very quiet student, created our school's creative writing club. Now she organizes this, she gets students together, she does everything for it, and I've seen it flourish and I've seen it bloom. Second, one of my students who worked on the website, who was struggling in my class, came to me the last day of exams. Now, of course, I'm paraphrasing what he said to me, but essentially it was this. He said, "It's taken me until the end of my 10th grade year to get it, to finally get it." And when I asked him what he meant by that, he said that after years of scraping by, of not doing his work or putting it off until the last minute, he can finally see what can result. He says that he has finally put his time into something that matters, that has a payoff, that has a meaning. Of course, what he did not verbalize was that his work was finally celebrated and recognized not only by adults but by peers. He had become instrumental in an academic community. He had taken charge and reaped results. Now my time is about up, so if you have any questions, please let me know.